as we mentioned, Nobesuthu Hejana won the car race through peak hour traffic on Tuesday morning here on the SA Morning. But Dasen, Thathiah and Heidi Giokos are disputing that one. So this morning they're back, this time using public transport to do just that. We know you can't really race during peak hour traffic, but these three are very competitive today. They'll use modes of transport the majority of us use every day. Nobesuthu is traveling from Kayamandi taxi rank in Stellenbosch to Cape Town. Dasen Thathiah is catching a bus from Lamontville to Durban, and Heidi Giokos took a train from Midrand to Hyde Park Studios. We'll start with you, Dasen. I believe your guest is pressed for time. Good morning, and how's it going so far?
Well, Cindy, you know, I'm feeling a lot more confident now because I can almost see the office. Well, not really, but we are very close. Although that's not the end of my journey, because although I am taking the bus, and as you mentioned, we left Lamontville very early this morning, we are now in the vicinity of Mhlanga and where I need to go, but I still need to walk. So once I get off the bus, there's still a few more kilometers that I need to take, and that's going to be a hike, and we're going to make our way down to the office. But still feeling like I'll get there in time. It's been quite a journey. I'll bring in now the Deputy Head of Transport in eThekwini, Hejana. Mlu, you've been with us for most of this trip, but you're not a stranger to this type of transportation. I know you often take these buses to see how they are running. It's a massive responsibility that you have, because you have to look after the livelihoods of, I'm assuming, thousands of people in the city.
Yes, Dasen, thanks. Yeah, so it's a big responsibility. Basically, we keep the city functioning, and therefore we ensure that the 50,000 commuters that rely on our buses daily are able to get to school, to work on time. So it's a major responsibility. We run about 4,000 trips a day.
And one of the challenges that you have, I mean, I was listening to some of the commuters here saying, gosh, you know what, I'm worried about getting to work late. And now you're talking about thousands of people saying that. But the reality is that you're also dealing with the usual stuff that other cars are dealing with on the road. There are accidents, there are traffic lights that are out. How do you manage that?
Yeah, obviously it's a big challenge, but obviously the planning plays a key role. We have inspectors that must wake up early and go and inspect the roads to ensure that there are no disruption. But obviously things like load shedding, etc., are outside of our control. But we have to ensure that at least we keep the lateness of the buses or delays to minimum, so that at least over 80% of our travel times are on time and according to schedule.
Has that had a direct impact on you in terms of your schedules that you're running? I'm talking about load shedding and the traffic lights that are affected.
Yes, big time. It's obviously disrupt us, because sometimes in the depot, when the buses have to be dispatched and there's load shedding in the depot, it affects us, because we rely obviously on backup generators. Sometimes that interruption and the ticketing system, we rely on technology that requires to download and all of that. So load shedding disrupt our business continuity.
And we can't get away from the fact that there is the issue of safety as well when we're talking about taking public transport. I know there have been robberies. Some of your buses get torched. How do you manage that? I mean, how safe is it for commuters to travel?
Well, generally it's very safe, but obviously one of the challenges, obviously factors of crime and just community unrest, where we lose a lot of buses that get torched. And then we also have other criminal incidents that affect our passengers, but it's to a small percentage. But obviously safety and security for our passengers is paramount, and one incident obviously is too many.
Sure. No, that's fine. I think we'll leave it there. Thank you so much, Mlu. We are just about the final passengers on the bus. I think we'll be heading up to our stop very soon, and that's when we'll begin our hike. Cindy, I'm sure you have a bird's eye view there. Tell me, am I going to win?
You know, I wish I had a crystal ball that would show me the results. At this stage, we're going to have to wait from the viewers as well, who are contributing to the viewer question as to who wins. But Dasen, the commute itself seemed to have been comfortable, albeit that obviously most passengers would have to wake up extra early to catch the bus. How comfortable? What's the comfortability of it?
No, well, it's certainly been, it's a lot better than I guess it used to be. These are some of the newer buses that we are traveling in now. So it's been fortunate that the condition is better, and I think the passengers as well are fairly spaced out. So that's one of the advantages of traveling in a bus as opposed to, for example, a more cramped vehicle or anything like that. So now it's a case of just the time issue and making sure that you are there on time and that the bus that you are taking also gets you to where you're going to on time. Speaking of time, I must also get to where I'm going to as well.
All right, hint taken. All the best as he makes it to his last mile. Nobesuthu, good morning to you. So you in a taxi to Cape Town. You're still in the taxi. I see Heidi is walking. It seems like she's just outside the Hyde Park studio. Not sure, but let's start with you, Nobesuthu. How's it going so far?
Okay, Cindy, you will notice where I'm sitting there. I've chose this seat specifically for a reason, because I was avoiding that math taxi. So I chose to be at the back because I didn't want to be calculating money and all of those things, because it's too early to be counting money. The math is not mathing at this point. But we are still on the N2. We're experiencing about 13 minutes delay. I'll ask my colleague Zaid to just turn his camera in front, and then you can see the heavy traffic already on the N2. The cars are moving slow. Like I've said, we're experiencing about 13 minutes delay this morning. The N2 is basically jam-packed at this particular hour, but we are still on our way to the Cape Town station. I'll just speak to one of the commuter here in the taxi just to tell me about, her journey, and also why specifically does she love using a taxi. Mama, bengicela usixelele mhlambi uvuka ngobani ixesha ukuba ukwazi ukhwela itaxi xa usiya emsebenzini?
Xa ndisiya emsebenzini ndivuka ngo-5, ndiphume phaa endlini ngo-6, ndifike phaa erenki ngoma-6:10.
And then ke ukuze ungabi late, okanye khasixele nge-challenges zalapha endleleni, because namhlanje siyabona kugcwele endleleni. So wena ukhwela apha every day, ufika awubi late emsebenzini, ufika ngobani ixesha xa usithi uphuma endlini ngo-6?
Emsebenzini ndiba late kakhulu ngoba kaloku ndifika apha etawuni ngebhasi 8 sometimes, ngoba i-2 hours ziyayigqiba apha endleleni. Ndiba late gqithi.
And obviously amaxesha nzima, and ukusuka eStellenbosch ukuya etawuni mhlambi for abanye abantu like wena uchoose ukhwela itaxi instead of ibhasi, i-finances zibanjani, like uya-afforda ithini into yakho?
Kuba nzima kakhulu ngoba kaloku ndisebenzisa ibhasi oko andikwazi, ndisebenzisa itaxi oko andikwazi uya ebhasini. Kuba nzima kakhulu.
Asixelele nge-difference mhlambi yamaxabiso ebhasini neteksi.
Ndisebenzisa ibhasi ngoku.
Awuyikhwela ibhasi. Okay, apha endleleni uyatsho uba uba late, so ke ngoku xa ukhwela ilentuka itaxi uyakwazi uexplain emsebenzini uba why uba late, because uyatsho uba niyayigqiba i-2 hours apha endleleni. Akubikho nangxaki emsebenzini?
Abelungu sebeyazi ngoba kaloku bayayibona uba i-traffic jam apha endleleni inzima. Andibinangxaki, abanangxaki kum.
All right, siyabulela mamam. Well, Cindy, I was speaking to one commuter. She's basically telling me that at the moment she's able to afford to commute a taxi as compared to the bus, because we do know that the buses, they use about specific schedules to get to town, and when she's using a taxi, she's able to commute at any time depending on what time she gets to the taxi rank. And like she's saying, sometimes they do spend about 2 hours on the road because of the traffic, and right now the taxi has literally stopped because of the traffic. I'll also ask my colleague Zaid to show you these visuals of the N2. Yes, we are moving, but at a very slow pace because of the jam-packed traffic this morning. I think I will have to confess that we might lose this particular race, but I'm still hopeful that at least it won't be too bad.
You gave it your best shot, and the results are not final as yet, Nobesuthu. So, and Dasen, keep the faith and hope alive. As we cross to Heidi now, who commuted, you didn't even know, traffic was not an issue with you, Heidi. You took the Gautrain from Midrand and took the Gautrain bus to get to Hyde Park. How far are you?
I am a couple of meters away from the office, so Nobesuthu doesn't have any hope left because I have basically won this race. I'm going to ask my colleague Teddy to just show you. There is the ENCA building. Just to explain to you how my trip was, we took the Gautrain from Midrand this morning to Rosebank. It took a couple of minutes. It was very quick, very fast. Of course, no traffic because we took the train. And then we got off at the Rosebank station where we basically took the bus. We got onto the bus. We waited a few minutes, obviously, for more passengers to get onto the bus. And then we made our way all the way down Jan Smuts to Hyde Park Corner, where we are now walking. So I've used the train, the bus, and my very two reliable feet to get to the office. And we've basically made it. The train left at about 1:15 or just after 6:15 this morning, and I'm at the office in less than an hour. That just speaks to the reliability and the convenience of the Gautrain. And of course, we do know the reality is that some people are unable to use the Gautrain because of its positioning. Some people might say the pricing, some people might say it's difficult to get to the Gautrain or whatever it might be. But I can tell you, Cindy, that it was so convenient. I felt very safe. It was very quick. I didn't even realize we were already at the Rosebank station, and officially I am a winner, and I told my team that I'm going to win this race, and I am at the office.
A self-declared winner, and indeed, I mean, like you were saying, the convenience of taking the Gautrain, also avoiding traffic, which is where Nobesuthu finds herself stuck now in the end-to-end Cape Town, saying that they're moving but at a snail's pace because of the traffic. Dasen, you are still on the bus, I'm surprised, but your reaction so far as you see Heidi literally outside the gate at the Hyde Park studios.
You know what? I've always loved Heidi's humility, really.
Wow.
It comes across very strongly. But so I can tell you that I'm really going to be running. I think second place is still an honorable place to be, and I'm okay with that. I'll accept it.
Yeah, but the modes of transport are also different. It brings its own different dynamics. For example, Nobesuthu, you had to wait until the taxi was full. At least there was an arrangement that half full and then the rest you'd have to pay for. And the Gautrain is the equivalent of a bullet train. So it was expected pretty much that Heidi would win this one. Nobesuthu, your words of congratulating Heidi, or are you a sore loser?
You know what? I mean, we've been modest in Cape Town, and we gave this one to Heidi because she was complaining last week. So that's all I'm going to say, Cindy.
Yeah, the true camaraderie, I really, really appreciate it. So Heidi, I mean, you are the winner, and you know, kudos to all you guys for having braved the cold and the inconvenience of having, well, in some part, the inconvenience of taking public transport, especially when it comes to minibus taxis, and the bus station. Would you say that it was? How would you rate it in terms of your journey?
You know what, I have to be honest, I was pleasantly surprised, right? I expected a lot worse than we got, but it sounds like there is there's a whole different life that happens before 5 o'clock, really. And I think that it's important to acknowledge that, and that the system that's in place, when it works, it is good. Because that's the sense that we get. There is a schedule. There are cameras on the bus. There's a card system that you use. So there are these nice things, but there are also the variables. There is the danger. There are the delays when you look at traffic. We didn't have that today, fortunately. But all in all, I think it was a pleasant experience for me, and it's certainly something that more of us can look to doing if we are able to. And that's taking public transport. You know, it limits the number of cars on the road. And also with fuel prices being what it is, maybe it's not a bad alternative at all.
I couldn't agree with you more. Just wrapping up, Heidi, your acceptance speech, very briefly. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you so much, and that's what sore losers will say, that I don't have humility or whatever it might be, and that this one was handed to me because I took a train. At the end of the day, I also woke up very early this morning, and I agree with my colleague Dasen that there's a whole different world out there very early in the morning, people really trying to get to their workplaces and the most easiest and convenient way, especially also because there's also a safety element to all of this. And I felt very safe, it was very convenient and very quick. And the reality is that many South Africans wake up very early to get to their different destinations, and sometimes there are major challenges. I actually saw a tweet where somebody was saying Gautrain for the win, except when there's load shedding, and that is also a reality, that people face difficulties when there are constant rolling blackouts, be it when the traffic lights are out or whatever it might be. So at the end of the day, I'm a winner, and I'll always stay a winner.
Congratulations indeed. Thank you so much. That's where we're going to leave it. Nobesuthu Hejana is still commuting to Cape Town. Dasen Thathiah already a few meters away from the office. And Heidi, she is the ultimate winner.